Rugby Championship stats for the 2024 season, folks. The season is in the bag. Let's have a look at the stats for the 4 Rugby Championship sides. See if any of the stereotypes about these sides were true. Is it true that the Springboks were pretty old? They had the biggest pack of them all. Did the All Blacks lack discipline, and is that where they punished? Were the Pumas truly inconsistent? What about the Wallabies? Does their attack have some serious issues? What do the numbers say? We'll go through them and you guys can let us know your thoughts. Are the Springboks the oldest side in the Rugby Championship? Yep. Not by a stupid amount. Average age across the tournament around about 29 years old, just over. They certainly experimented with some of the young guns throughout the competition as well. The All Blacks slightly younger, coming in at around 28. The Pumas 27. And then the Wallabies, perhaps encouragingly, kind of by far the younger side at around 25 and a half years old, the average age of their side. So maybe in terms of their development, I know they finished with only 1 win at the bottom of the table, but young side. Whereas the Boks are kind of mixing it up with the experienced guys and the youth, trying to kind of pass the torch on to the next generation. What about the All Blacks and their discipline? Is it that bad? The All Blacks have kind of got a bad reputation for discipline in recent times. Well, if you look at cards, yes, but equal with South Africa. Both sides finished the tournament with 7 yellow cards. The Wallabies had 3, the Pumas just the 2, but the Pumas got the only red card of the tournament with Matera. So, happily for Rugby Championship fans, we didn't have I know we had 20-minute red cards, but we didn't really need them because there was not many red cards given throughout the tournament, which was pretty pleasing because at times, you know, the red cards become a bit of a sticking point, whether it's like, oh, was it intentional? Intent doesn't matter. It was just a high tackle. Game's gone soft, blah, blah, blah. We didn't really have to have those conversations this year because there just weren't many red cards. But back to discipline. For the All Blacks, were they the most penalised side of the competition? Yes, they were. 71 penalties conceded. The Wallabies, 66. The Pumas, 61. And the Boks come in the cleanest side, interestingly, for penalties conceded, with only 58. It usually makes sense that sides which are under more pressure concede more penalties. The Boks are the winning side, so concede fewer penalties. But they won't be happy with the 7 yellow cards. It's bizarre to see them as the least penalised side, but equal first for the amount of yellow cards they got. But then again, some of the yellow cards you can get are straight up like deliberate knock-on ones. Don't have to have any kind of preceding yellow cards, penalties in the build-up, right? You can just get them straight off the bat. No warning, deliberate knock-on like Willie LaRue's one. Just gets given a straight yellow. The Wallabies, does their attack struggle? One of the kind of easy ways, it's not flawless, but one of the general ways you can have a look and see how well a team is attacking is to look at how many meters they get per carry across the games, with 4 meters a carry being seen as that kind of gold standard. If you can get above 4 meters a carry or around about 4 meters per carry, you're generally getting good go forward ball. You're getting over the advantage line. And like the Boks have got that, they're 4.1 meters a carry, so clearly able to get forward over other teams' defenses. The Pumas actually not too far behind, 3.8. Interestingly, the All Blacks struggled a little bit at 3.5, 3.6. The Wallabies did indeed struggle the most of all the sides. I mean, it kind of makes sense they came in last, but 3.2 meters a carry meant that they were struggling to break down opposition defenses. At times, the kind of direct carrying game meant a lot of carries for kind of not that much meterage. Did they have the smallest pack, though, the Wallabies? Because we often think of the Wallabies as having perhaps a kind of smaller, more nimble pack. Well, the Boks live up to their billing as the biggest pack. Weight numbers can be a little bit iffy because players' weights change throughout the season. But for the recordings we are given, the Boks average weight of their starting pack, 951 kilos. Heavier than the All Blacks at 929, the Wallabies at 928, and then the Pumas actually came in with the lightest pack at 912, although the Pumas did kind of fluctuate. They started the season with a bit of a lighter pack and kind of beefed things up as the competition went on. So yeah, the Wallabies kind of, once Tupou returned, were certainly able to add a bit of bulk into their pack. What about the try scorers? Are the Boks the guys getting all their tries through their forwards? Well, the only side that really stands out here is the All Blacks, because the Pumas is a split 20 tries, 10 through the backs, 10 through the forwards. The Wallabies is 6 from the backs, 5 from the forwards. The Boks, 13 from the forwards, 11 from the backs. So all these are pretty even. And then you get to the All Blacks, 5 from the forwards, 17 from the backs. So kind of living up to the stereotype, the All Blacks, as being a side which tends to score more tries out wide. Will Jordan managed to get a few. Caleb Clark obviously finished with 6. So that kind of makes sense. But where the All Blacks did struggle, if we have a look at how many points a team scored during a quarter and how many points they conceded, interestingly, the Boks also have a weak quarter. It's not quite as drastic as the All Blacks one. Like, the Boks come out in positive territory in terms of points difference for every quarter. They scored 24 points more than their opponents in the first, 15 in the third, only 1 in the second. So the Boks second quarter, like, they had a good first and last game of the Rugby Championship in terms of putting more points on than their opponents in the kind of latter half of the first half. But it's the fourth quarter where the Boks have got a great points difference, positive 54. So the Boks really put teams to the sword at the end of games. 80-minute side. The Pumas likewise, I mean, they blew away the Aussies, which really blows out the points difference in terms of their final quarter. It's the only quarter that the Pumas finished with a positive points difference, minus 42, minus 8, minus 3, but 28 to the positive in the final quarter. The Wallabies are negative in every quarter, and it kind of gets not quite progressively worse, minus 17, minus 29, minus 21, and then minus 39, largely in that blow-up. But then the All Blacks, decent first half side, 35 and 36 points positive in the first 2 quarters, 9 in the third, and then minus 43. So right now, the All Blacks are not an 80-minute team, at least in the Rugby Championship 2024. It's a real area of struggle. Only managed 7 points in the final quarter of games in the Rugby Championship and conceded a bundle. So certainly an area of focus for Razors boys before they head up north in November. Goal kicking, interestingly, the Boks finished the weakest of the sides in this regard. Sometimes it's because you score lots of tries. You got harder kicks, but 68% for any Springbok side is too low for their goal kicking. The All Blacks 80, the Pumas 89, the Wallabies 93. So at least that's kind of one area of positive for you Wallabies fans. Your goal kicking didn't have as many shots at goal as everybody else, but you ended up with the highest goal kicking percentage. And then the Argentinian inconsistency is bonkers. Like, the points swing between every opponent they played was crazy. They beat the All Blacks 38-30, lose the next one 42-10. So a points swing from like 38 points, like an 8-point win, to a 32-point loss is a 40-point swing. Then they lose to the Aussies by 1, then beat them by 40, so a 41-point swing. And then they lose, so they beat the Boks by 1, lose to them by 41, a 42-point swing. So every game for the Pumas, a 40-point or more swing from the week before, is genuinely nuts. Nobody was like that other than the Pumas this Rugby Championship. Everyone else had at least a little bit more consistency. You could say they are consistent and that every week they get a 40-point swing. But that's obviously not ideal because you don't know which Pumas team is going to show up. It is a thing at the moment. You guys let us know your thoughts. What areas do you think are particularly concerning or encouraging for each of the Rugby Championship sides before we head up north to the tests in November? Subscribe to the channel if you want more rugby stats. I love looking at them. I hope you guys like hearing about them. Take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.